here's your little bar. So you've got your avatar there that you can change. Here's your name, and in the parentheses, that's what I'm suggesting, put in the title of your poster or your talk when you are doing it, and then people can find you easily. The next one is a mini map. If you click on that, it'll pop up a little version in the middle of your screen of whatever room you're in, and you can see where you are in that room. The next one is the for screen sharing. If you're giving a talk and you have slides or you have something else you want to screen share, you click on that and it will do a screen share. So it's what I'm doing right now. And then the last is your emoticons. And we're going to use the question emoticon, which you can also use by pressing 5 on your keyboard to raise a question during a talk. So when the questions session begins, just press 5 on your keyboard and a little question mark floats up above your head, and then the moderator will know how to call on you. Okay, and then, so here's what the avatar looks like. This is where you can set your status. There's also all the emojis are in here, so you can use those and set your video and user preferences and whatnot. If you go on quiet mode or if you step away from your computer, it's a good idea to put in the status right there, just stepping away for a moment. Because if you step away from your computer, your avatar will still be sitting in the space and people might come up and try to talk to you. So it's a good idea to change your status here to say, just stepped out for a minute, I'll be right back, or something like that. Okay, so on the left-hand side of your screen, you should see a column that looks something like this. And at the bottom, there's an icon with like 2 people. Well, right now it says 49, but there's an icon of 2 people. And then if you click on that, you'll get the whole list of people who are in this space. This is really, really useful. If you click on any one of those people, a little thing will pop up and it says, you can send a friend request, you can message that person, or you can locate them on the map. And if you click locate on the map, then it will draw a line between you and them, wherever they are in the universe of Gather. And then you can follow that through and find them. So this is the part where I'm talking about putting your title in that description now, because anyone who wants to see your paper can look through for the titles, click on you, click locate on map, and then they'll go straight to the room where you are doing your presentation or to your poster directly, and you don't have to deal with any of the map. It's a very nice feature. Also, follow. If you're going somewhere with somebody, one of you can just set yourself to follow the other person, and they will automatically follow the avatar as it walks. It's very easy to use and very helpful. I'm not sure if you can see the spotlight. The moderators will be able to see spotlight, and that's for asking questions or giving the next speaker the floor. There's a chat. Chat works just like all the other videoing messengers. You can send specific chat to people who are close by. You can send chat to everybody in the room. You can send chat to everyone in the universe. It doesn't, I might be a setting, but mine doesn't ding when someone sends me a chat. It only puts up a little 1 next to the chat icon, so I don't always see it. It's not the best way to get in touch with me, at least, but it does work. By the way, if you do step away and someone comes up to your avatar, it will give you the option to ring them, and that usually plays a sound on your computer. So if the person isn't responding to you, press ring, and it will ring you. The next one is the calendar. All of the calendar is loaded into, all of the events are loaded into the calendar there. It's hosted by Google. It's on Google Calendar. You can subscribe to it. So if you click on any one of those, it'll open up in Google Calendar, and then you can subscribe to them all. There have been a couple of last-minute changes to the schedule that aren't reflected in the session schedule that's on that Google Calendar, but the sessions themselves haven't changed. It's just who's presenting in which with last-minute changes. The last one is, the next menu up is build. If you really want to play, we have a couple of dorm rooms available that are empty. They're located in the northwest corner. Send me a text message or stop and see me afterwards, and I can set you up with a dorm room where you can build and put in flowers and whatever you want, and play around with Gather. It is kind of addictive. Finally is settings. If you ever get lost, and it will happen, if you ever get lost or you end up in a black void, click on settings and then on user, and you'll get to the respawn button. You actually have to scroll down a little to find it, but if you scroll down at the bottom, there's a respawn button, and that will take you back to the entrance where you started. And so anytime you get lost or you get stuck somewhere or you just can't find your way, hit that and you'll go up to where you started. So that's your safety catch. Other cool stuff. Interactive objects. When you walked up to the registration desk or the check-in desk, the little documents that are sitting on the table lit up yellow. That means it's interactive. Anytime you walk up to an interactive object, you press X in order to interact with it. There are Google Docs throughout this. The schedule is located on little stand-up displays throughout all of the colleges. So if you ever need it, you just walk up, click X, and you'll get to the information that you're looking for. The other thing to notice is these little orange squares that are right behind my avatar in this screenshot. Those are the squares that will broadcast to the whole room. It doesn't broadcast to the whole universe, it broadcasts to the whole room. And so in this case, that's what I used to say there was 5 minutes left, or you should come in and check in. In your session rooms, there's a podium, and one person will stand at the podium at a time and be able to present. There's actually a couple squares. I added a couple squares, so if there's 2 of you presenting, you can both talk at the same time and stand next to each other. And then when you have a question, there's squares located on the side of the building, the side of the room. Here, I'll show you. So here's an example of a panel session room. And you can see these orange squares around the podium is where you stand as a presenter. And then here on the left and on the right is where you'd stand to ask a question. And we do that so that everybody in the room can hear the questions and the answers. The moderator's chair, which is up in the upper right-hand corner, my avatar is in it right now, is also a broadcast to the whole room square. And so the moderator should sit there, and that way at least can signal when time is up for the speaker who is presenting at the time. Yeah, so zooming in on these squares. The other cool thing that we have are private spaces. So there's private spaces throughout this world. A private space, when you're in a private space, you can talk to all the people who are in the private space, but people who walk by next to you can't hear you. So a bunch of you, when we were at the check-in desk, we had to sort of separate because we had 2 conversations going and it was a little bit difficult to understand. Private spaces solve that. So when you're in a private space, this is one that's right next to the boardroom. If there were other people in here, we would talk to each other and people who are walking by would not hear us. So we have private spaces set up around tables. And if you're in a panel session or a round table, if you're in a round table, the rooms are set up like a seminar, like this. There's a very large table. Now the whole table is a private space, which means that everyone who's sitting at the table can hear and talk to everyone else who's sitting at the table. So it can be a real discussion, like a seminar. But you do have to sit at the table. If you step back, you'll fall out of the conversation. Okay. The last things are a couple of, I'm going to stop my screen sharing now. So we do have a couple of other Easter eggs and cool things that you can do on here. So first of all, if you hold down Control or Command and press Z, you do a cute little dance and a heart grows over your head. Very good. To stop it, you can press Z and then it pauses it and you can do it slowly because you're cool like that. And really, if you want to stop it, you just press the arrow keys and you'll stop doing it. There you go. Another thing that happens, another basic rule of Gather is that you can't walk through other people. You can go ahead and try it right now. If you're standing with somebody else, you can't walk through them. That actually comes into play, oddly enough, in this virtual space, because when I was designing this room, I had to think about getting 150 people into and out of this room in short order. And if you can't walk through people, you could create real bottlenecks, which would be a problem. The Gather did outfox me though. They do actually have a function for this. It's ghost mode. If you hold down the G key, you'll become a ghost and you can walk through other people. I wouldn't do it very often. I think it might be considered rude, but it is possible. If you ever get trapped, you can ghost mode out of it. I think that's about it. You know, from the emoticons, there are numbers versions of these, so you don't have to click numbers 1 through, I think it's 8, produce emoticons. We'll use number 5 as the question when you have a question. Number 7, yep, 1 through 6. Okay, and they go down after just a second. We do have a couple of little business items as well to take care of this evening. We have tomorrow, we're in this space, we're going to have the plenary with Tim Eatman. He is a renowned scholar of urban education and honors education. He's the inaugural dean of the honors Live Learn community at Rutgers University in Newark. And he'll be speaking tomorrow, so that's after all of the sessions. And we'll be in this space for that talk. Elections this year we're going to hold like we did last year, so they'll be after the conference. If any of you are interested in serving on the board, grab a current board member and we can talk you through what that means. There's a bunch of us around. Most of us have noted in our names our current role on the board. We are we're going next year, if we are in person, and we certainly hope we are, we're going to be at Tri-C, Cuyahoga Community College. And so if you are interested in helping out in the organization of that conference, get in touch. I do have an application for the board that's electronic, but it's not live yet, so it'll be live tomorrow. So you'll be able to finish the application or nomination for members of the board. The paper awards that we give out to the best paper will be also given after the conference. We hopefully will do it within the month, but we needed to get them all in before we could read them. And so we're starting that process immediately after this conference. The poster awards will be given tomorrow night after the plenary session by Tim Eatman. And let's see, what was the other one? Oh, we do have, any moderators that are here, if you could meet with me up by the boardroom in one of those private spaces, like immediately after this, that would be great. We can go through responsibilities of moderation and how it works in the new space. And if any of you want to volunteer to be a moderator, we could use a few more. So join us up at the boardroom immediately after this talk. There is one schedule update in session 10. Helen Brooks is unable to attend tonight, so I've updated the website version of the schedule, and that leaves only one speaker during session 10, so you get to have more time. But if you don't need it all, that's fine. You can end the session early. So thank you all for coming. I think that's about it from me. The next two things that are happening on the schedule are service and cultural event. The cultural event is run by Brainchild Magazine. It's going to be in the Southeast College, room 2. So if you want to go to the cultural event for Brainchild, you can head out and head towards the Southeast College, room 2. If you want to do the service event, stay put. We're going to have a brief introduction first for the service event, and then head down to the college. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Jim. Jim, are you here? Here he is. Excellent. I will turn it over to Jim, who will introduce the service event.
All right, great. Thanks, Peter,